The sun is the energy source for our planet and all the planets in the solar system. If the sun didn't exist, all the planets, moons, and other celestial bodies in the solar system would be significantly affected. In addition to being an energy source, the sun's gravitational pull keeps all the objects in its system in a structured orbit. Thanks to this order, the solar system functions in harmony, with only occasional exceptions. Furthermore, the sun provides heat to the planets, creating a suitable climate for life, at least as far as we know only on Earth. So, what changes and catastrophes would occur if the sun, the center of the solar system and the force that influences everything within it, suddenly disappeared? Before answering these questions, let's first get to know our sun and solar system. The sun and all the celestial bodies and planets within the solar system were formed about 4.5 billion years ago as a result of the collapse of a giant molecular gas and dust cloud. Following this collapse, the dust cloud began to take on a shape resembling a disk. During this time, the dust, rock fragments, and stones in the area started gathering in regions of the disk with strong gravitational forces. Over time, more and more matter accumulated, merged, and began to rotate within these dense areas. While these materials were spinning and gradually combining in the disk center, they formed a mass that took on a spherical shape. The remaining fragments moved outward from the center, forming a disk that revolved around the sphere. The central sphere eventually became the sun, while the scattered fragments formed the planets in today's solar system. Of course, these processes took an incredibly long time. For example, after these events, the sun spent approximately 100,000 years as what is known as a protostar, or a primitive star. After this lengthy period, fusion reactions began to occur in the sun's core due to increasing pressure. At this stage, the sun was referred to as a T-Tauri star. This term means a star that is not yet capable of sustaining fusion reactions due to insufficient internal pressure. The sun remained in this state for about 1 million years, waiting until it could build up enough internal pressure to sustain fusion reactions. During this time, the star continued to slowly collapse inward. After some time, the sun advanced its evolution and entered the phase known as the main sequence. Our sun has been in this phase for approximately 4.5 billion years and continues to be so. The sun is considered a middle-aged star. According to scientists' estimates, about 5 billion years from now, the sun's fuel will begin to deplete. At that time, if there are still planets in the solar system, they are expected to experience earthquakes, land shifts, and a significant drop in temperature due to the decrease in the sun's energy output. Once the sun exhausts its fuel and collapses inward, it will transform into a white dwarf roughly the size of Earth, but with half the mass of the current sun. This white dwarf will take billions of years to cool down. During this period, all planets near the sun are expected to be destroyed. However, planets located further away, in the outer regions of the solar system, are expected to survive. Planets like Saturn and Jupiter, which are farther from the sun, will gradually move away as the sun's gravitational pull weakens. Eventually, the white dwarf sun, after billions of additional years, will cool and transform into a black dwarf, likely being ejected out of the galaxy in the process. Now, let's discuss what would happen to Earth if the sun were to suddenly disappear. As we mentioned earlier, the sun is an essential and irreplaceable part of our solar system, including Earth. It is one of our most vital energy sources. If the sun were to vanish suddenly, humanity would take approximately 8 minutes to notice this due to the distance between the Earth and the sun. 8 minutes after the sun's disappearance, those experiencing daytime would suddenly find the sky plunging into darkness. Conversely, those experiencing nighttime would not see even a trace of the moon in the sky, as the moon shines by reflecting sunlight. Without sunlight, it would be entirely invisible. One of the biggest challenges Earth would face after the sun's disappearance is the lack of heat. Without any heat source, the planet would begin to cool rapidly, plunging into an ice age. This ice age would have devastating effects on life on Earth, severely impacting humans, animals, and plants. The first organisms to be at risk would be plants, as they rely on sunlight for photosynthesis. Without this energy source, all plant life would perish within approximately 15 days. Animals would take a bit longer to face extinction, but herbivores would soon run out of food, leading to their decline. As herbivores disappear, Carnivores that rely on them for sustenance would also face extinction. With the disappearance of both herbivores and carnivores, omnivores would be the last to survive, but they, too, would eventually perish. While the exact timeline of this event is uncertain, it is estimated that within a year, all life forms on Earth, excluding humans, would be extinct. Humans are somewhat more fortunate compared to other living beings in this scenario. Due to the extinction of plants on Earth, oxygen production would cease entirely. If humanity does not take rapid action, breathable air will eventually run out, leading to suffocation-related deaths. Furthermore, the extinction of animals would cause severe food shortages. One crucial and realistic point to consider is that if the sun disappears, even if humanity does not become entirely extinct, the global human population currently in the billions would likely dwindle to mere hundreds of thousands. However, thanks to scientific experiments, research, and technological advancements achieved throughout human history, it is feasible to create artificial light sources using nuclear technology. This would enable oxygen production, agriculture, and food creation even in the absence of the sun. With the help of these technological advancements, it is entirely possible, even with today's technology, to construct habitable shelters with breathable air and sufficient warmth. Before moving into such shelters, humanity must ensure the ability to cultivate crops and bring along a few species of animals. This is because one of the most critical nutrients for human survival is protein. Proteins are essential for muscle development, blood health, and physical strength. Even if humanity succeeds in cultivating crops without sunlight, a lack of adequate protein sources could severely impact the remaining population and future generations. For this reason, it is imperative to bring certain animal species into the shelters before retreating to them for an extended period. If knowledgeable individuals survive and take along the necessary resources and species, humanity, albeit with a significantly reduced population, has a chance to continue its existence. The Earth's surface would eventually become entirely uninhabitable, transforming into a frozen wasteland covered in ice. Humans, adapting to life underground, would gradually improve their energy, food, oxygen, and light sources, creating a new routine. Due to the sudden drop in population from billions to mere thousands, people of that time would implement new policies to increase the population. While life underground may be challenging for those who remember life on the surface, newborns would not find it difficult, as it would be the only life they know. Today, every country has its underground shelters. However, in a global catastrophe of this magnitude, people living in different countries' shelters would likely remain unaware of one another's existence for a long time. Scientists focused on their community's survival would initially prioritize internal projects over establishing communication with other nations. Furthermore, no infrastructure currently exists to facilitate communication between underground shelters. After 10 to 15 years, once societies have stabilized, they might launch projects to search for and contact other underground shelters. If humanity advances technologically, it could eventually return to the Earth's surface. To achieve this, domes made of transparent materials could be constructed in specific areas, equipped with artificial light sources at the top to create habitable zones. To illustrate, one dome could accommodate approximately 50,000 people. The number of domes would increase to cover the entire population at that time. For instance, if the population were 1 million, 20 domes would be built. Inside these domes, new homes, agricultural areas, zones for animals, and living spaces for humans would be established. People would then be distributed and settled into these domes. The internal climate of the domes would be managed by scientists, with artificial conditions such as wind, rain, snow, and other weather phenomena being simulated. Although this concept may sound like something out of a science fiction movie, scientists claim that even with today's technology, it is entirely feasible. As you can see, humanity could sustain life on Earth for many years without the sun, thanks to its resources and technology. However, another major issue arises after the sun disappears. Earth would continue drifting aimlessly through the Milky Way galaxy, with no gravitational body to orbit. Although Earth's atmosphere can destroy many meteors and asteroids entering it, these objects are relatively small. For billions of years, Earth has avoided being a target for large asteroids due to the gravitational pull of nearby planets and the Sun. However, as a free-floating planet in the galaxy with no nearby massive objects to attract asteroids, Earth could become a target for larger, potentially devastating celestial objects. While most scientists argue that this scenario is almost impossible, a minority believe the likelihood of such an event is high. Regardless of the probability, scientists are proposing a series of precautionary measures. One such idea is to deliberately crash Earth into a large asteroid, altering its trajectory to bring it into the orbit of another star. Humanity, living underground at the time, would likely experience only mild impacts from this event. This proposal, however, has been criticized by some scientists as overly dangerous and unrealistic. They suggest an alternative solution, placing millions of colossal propulsion engines on Earth's surface. These engines would be activated simultaneously to steer Earth toward a targeted star. The biggest challenge with this plan is the fuel required to power such engines. If future humanity cannot find an energy source, such as the petroleum or electricity used by today's space vehicles, the plan will never be feasible. Nevertheless, scientists believe that humans of the future will inevitably discover or create a new energy source to make this possible. Both methods, unfortunately, sound highly risky and almost impossible. So, which of these methods do you think would be more viable? And there you have it. Humanity could survive for a considerable time even after the Sun disappears and might eventually find a way to save Earth. While this thought provides some relief, the Sun vanishing today would undoubtedly mark the end for most of us. What are your thoughts, theories, and solutions on this topic? Don't forget to share them in the comments below. If you're someone who's interested in space, nature, and fascinating phenomena, please consider supporting our channel by subscribing. Don't forget to like this video to help it reach a wider audience and gain more visibility. That's all from us for today. See you in our next video featuring space, nature, or other extraordinary events. Until then, take great care of yourselves and see you soon.